Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like somebody has struck the Magic Kingdom. But guess what? They're all out of luck, the leadership at Disney, because it's they who have done this horrible thing. And this is out of wdwmagic.com. But Twitter, I'll tell you, is all Twitter pated about this, and not in a good way. They hate it. The title of the headline, New Aerial Images Reveal Extensive Site Clearing for Cars Themed Piston Peak at the Magic Kingdom. Folks, look at the horribleness of this. Now, I'm not telling you that it's going to stay this way, and I don't want to be Pollyanna and say, well, it's going to be the greatest thing ever when it's put back together. No, I want to land right in the middle and say, for right now, not forever, but for right now, this looks atrocious. It literally looks like somebody had a vendetta out against the mouse and struck the Magic Kingdom, leaving a giant hole in it. This is so ugly. You know what? Before we even read the article, I just want to open up the panel to say, did you ever think you would see something like this sitting in the most visited theme park in the world?
It's atrocious. No. And you think that's bad? Imagine going on Tiana's wannabe river adventure. And then the view, I actually shared that video with Vash. You can see it clearly when you're all the way up. And it's so ugly. I mean, I can't believe they are allowing people to see this, knowing that, people are going to go on this ride. Yeah, you can see all the construction. It's really, really bad. It's not like your typical construction site.
I'm really confused on this. Is this not just a shot of Galaxy's Edge?
It might be. It might be a shot of places in the world that the Orange Man is. No, we won't go there. But folks, take a look at what we had. Just look at this picture. This is what was there. And I need to remind everybody that at Walt Disney World, they have no shortage of land. They didn't have to do this. They chose to do this. This is what they destroyed. And this is what we have now. And the replacement that's going to be is cartoon cars riding around. And now the sight lines are all screwed up. But hey, you're getting a Villain's Land somewhere in the back of this, right? Way up above Big Thunder. You're going to get some Villain's Land. Hope people love it, because this is unpretty. New aerial photos from BioReconstruct, and by the way, wishing well, BioReconstruct, provide the best look yet at the scale of ground clearing now underway for Piston Peak, the upcoming Cars themed land. Is it a land? I guess it's a land now. It's a full-blown land. It's not Frontierland. It's Cars Land at Magic Kingdom. The images show a large portion of the former Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer Island footprint, now fully cleared, with heavy equipment reshaping the terrain. What was once the river basin is now a large graded work site that looks like it's a strike site, if you get what I'm saying. No wonder they had to put walls up around the Haunted Mansion queue. No one wants to see this out there. With the river fully drained, crews are focusing on bulk earthwork, leveling large sections of land as the project transitions from demolition into site preparation. The cleared area now stretches from near Haunted Mansion across toward Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Now, I will give one positive update on this. Before I do, though, I'll say, Vash, you appear to have been correct on this. I may have gotten this one wrong. They may reroute entirely the railroad. I don't know for sure yet, but that could be what they're doing, is going to reroute the entire railroad and no longer have it be the iconic shape. But the one positive here, it's a positive and a negative, I guess. The one positive is they have cleared land behind the Haunted Mansion and It's a Small World, which means they're going to use that space that they absolutely should for a show building. But the problem is they didn't keep going. There is a ton of land that goes all the way behind New Fantasyland, and if they put a building there and they don't keep going, all that land is going to be completely and totally wasted. And that, to me, is just yet another example of this company not wisely stewarding the massive amount of space they've been given. If they lock themselves in here, we're down to basically one more expansion pad for Magic Kingdom, and that's it. And that's very sad for a park that should have no issues whatsoever, never, ever, ever with land.
Shouldn't have any issues, but apparently it does. And that's why we need to take out the iconic Rivers of America, the very heart of this theme park, in this fashion. Now, we can all hope that they are including the ability to expand beyond these borders later on here, but I'm not so sure. And the reason I say I'm not so sure is because look at what what we saw with Toy Story Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge over there at Disney's Hollywood Studios. There was a way to incorporate, more expansions down the road, or do it in such a fashion that didn't cut itself off in the way that it did, so that you had to lose something like the Muppet Vision Theater, for example, and have that be replaced by Monsters Incorporated. Unfortunately, they didn't actually do that. They wanted to go ahead and mirror Galaxy's Edge so closely to Disneyland that they really locked themselves out of further expansion. I hope that that's not what's happening here. I hope that we have long-term Imagineers who are looking at it and going, okay, let's go ahead and preserve the ability to expand beyond this. But I'm not so sure, only because of, the quality, let's say, of the work output from Imagineering today.
I just
MJ,
can't
your
believe
thoughts?
we have no body of water. The only theme park now with no body of water. How could they just allow that to happen?
It's
Nothing.
wild. I agree. This is
insane.
I don't understand. It's so amazing too. Water is such an important part of the human psyche, and believing that you're in a place of tranquility and respite. I mean, without water, you can't have an oasis. It's embedded deeply into the minds of human beings. It's to such a degree that you actually, there have been psychological tests done on this. People feel more rested and more pleasant if they hear the sound of a waterfall. And yet Disney and Bob Iger, who says it's too dang hot for people to visit Magic Kingdom, that's why the summers are a bummer, is like, you know what, we got to get rid of all this water. We got to get rid of the water. You can't have any more water around this place because it's taking up space for Lightning Lane.
Why, you can't open a Splash Mountain when that mountain ain't got no water. No.
Now, to be fair, there has not been any psychological studies on ka-chow. I mean, that might be just as relaxing.
Can you zoom in a little bit on that area, that where it looks like a lightning bolt hit? Because it looks like
Let me
Harry
see
Potter.
if I can.
Maybe Harry
No,
Potter
it will not allow
and
us to.
Voldemort had their last battle there, and I think that's what that is. I'm just
Yes,
trying
and
to
so-
look at it carefully.
To explain for everybody what we think we're seeing here. So, and Vash, maybe you can outperform me on this one, because you've been paying close attention to how this Villain's Land is supposed to be. We think that the missile strike location, and then the grayish area that you can clearly see where once upon a time there was an island and is no more, that's going to be the Cars area, which is a huge, I mean, you could fit Big Thunder and Splash Mountain into that. And then that vast sea of cleared off land that's north of Big Thunder, and then that also goes behind Haunted Mansion, that's all Villain's Land, right?
Kinda, yeah. I think the missile strike, or basically what was the front side of Tom Sawyer's Island, might actually encompass your Cars Land, and that gray part might actually be the transition zone into what is going to be Villain's Land. At least that's from looking at the concept art, which, how much can you trust that? But when examining it, that does seem to be what that is like. And I do believe, I remember, I think it was Tom Corliss, I believe, of Walt Disney World News Today, when he was doing his analysis. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Disney showed a virtual walkthrough to members of the media, specific press, and he was describing that there's a walkway next to Haunted Mansion that takes you through to the transition point into Villain's Land, and so that's why I'm saying that, just based on his accounts and people who know a little bit more than I do, that sounds like the way they're going.
Well, that's going to be interesting that you go through Liberty Square into Villain's Land. That's going to be an interesting transition. We'll see how that plays out. If they're going to do it that way, I would say that walking past Haunted Mansion is about the best way you could do it, honestly. But, I don't know if villains are going to be quite as popular as Disney is hoping for. I just don't know about that. I get what they're aiming for. They want a Halloween land. They want a Disney adult area. It's going to be alcohol from, side to shining side of a sea of gluttony. But I'm not sure that if you compare that to all the other options they have, that this was the right choice.
Well,
they want their own
they
Dark
saw
Universe, and that's my opinion too, because they knew Dark Universe was coming, so they were like, "Oh, we got to do something. We got to compete with that. So let's give them a Villain's Land."
I think that you're absolutely right, MJ. And it's the same thing I was going to say. They saw what Universal had over there with Dark Universe, and they said, well, we can't have them showing us up. We have to have our own version of it with our own intellectual property. The difference being that Disney does not do well when they say, me too.
That's true.
They're
And
supposed
there
to
have
be the
been
leader.
concepts.
Yeah.
There have been concepts for Villains Land going back, I believe, like 30 years, in and out of various points of WDI by various Imagineers and so forth. So this idea had been brewing for a while. But to Pro's point, you know, as strong as the Villains Land might actually be in terms of like what it means for IP and what it means for just an attraction itself, it really comes down to the quality of execution. And I just don't know if the quality of execution can live up to the expectations that people have on this land.
The thing I wonder about is, all right, I get that villains are popular and you can do a lot because every time there's a new villain that people like, you can bring the villain in. Okay. But how much better would this be if this was a Zootopia land instead? How much could they get if they had added a huge Lilo and Stitch attraction to Adventureland in that expansion pad, for example? I think that this is not going to be quite as popular as Disney was hoping for. And I think it might actually draw a particular type of crowd that we sometimes criticize, the dinks. But the dinks like to drink, and they might be on the brink of being a little bit stumbly inside the land of the villains. We'll see, folks. But for now, Magic Kingdom does indeed looks like somebody had it out for them. It just so happens to have been Disney.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.